Space debris is falling to Earth more often, and some US cities are now at risk. With over 30,000 tracked objects in orbit, Earth's atmosphere receives unexpected visitors almost daily. NASA and ESA track this debris closely, but predicting exact landing spots is nearly impossible. Experts warn that densely populated areas in the US could see falling debris as early as 2025. The risk is low, but the consequences could be severe if debris falls in the wrong place. Let's look at US cities, which experts say might face space junk incidents in the coming year. First up, Los Angeles, California, with its vast size and location beneath busy orbital corridors. Thousands of satellites pass over Southern California daily, increasing the risk of atmospheric re-entry in the region. In 2022, a piece of Chinese rocket debris fell near California's coast. No one was harmed. Still, that event reminded experts how unpredictable falling space junk can be over urban zones. Los Angeles officials now work with federal agencies to improve tracking and emergency response plans. Next, Houston, Texas, a major space city ironically vulnerable to the fallout of orbital congestion. Houston is directly beneath several orbital paths used by aging satellites and decommissioned spacecraft. NASA's Johnson Space Center is already monitoring orbital decay patterns threatening the surrounding Houston region. A small fragment could cause chaos if it hits power infrastructure or crowded downtown areas. Third on the list, New York City, where low Earth orbit traffic has grown significantly. Despite its northern location, satellites often cross overhead due to polar and sun-synchronous orbits. SpaceX Starlink, with thousands of satellites, uses orbits that cross above New York multiple times daily. If even a small part survives re-entry, it could damage buildings or injure pedestrians in Manhattan. New York's emergency planners now consider space debris scenarios in their hazard response manuals. Next is Chicago, Illinois, which lies beneath a highly trafficked mid-latitude orbital band. Chicago's urban sprawl makes it a larger target zone for uncontrolled satellite or rocket re-entry. In 2021, a rocket booster passed over the Midwest before crashing into the Pacific Ocean. That path included airspace directly above parts of Illinois, including suburbs surrounding downtown Chicago. Now let's talk about Miami, Florida, a city increasingly exposed to falling debris due to its proximity. South Florida lies beneath several orbital corridors used by satellite launches from nearby Cape Canaveral. When rockets launch into space, leftover parts often fall back uncontrolled across a wide region. Although most burn up, larger chunks can survive and reach areas like suburban Miami or coastal zones. The city has partnered with space weather forecasters to track risks of falling debris more precisely. Denver, Colorado, is another city on the experts' watch list due to its elevation and aerospace connections. Denver's higher altitude slightly reduces atmospheric resistance, giving debris a better chance of reaching land. Colorado is also home to many defense and space facilities, which may increase satellite launch activity. Uncontrolled re-entries could target not just Denver, but also nearby cities like Colorado Springs and Boulder. Moving west, Seattle, Washington, faces increased debris exposure from polar and sun-synchronous orbit traffic. Many Earth-observing satellites pass above Seattle multiple times each day, increasing long-term risk. If an object re-enters during orbit decay, Seattle's high population density could amplify the impact. Officials monitor incoming re-entries closely using tools like NORAD's space surveillance network. Another surprise on the list is Phoenix, Arizona, a sprawling urban area beneath key orbital paths. Phoenix is at the center of several intersecting satellite flight corridors used by weather and telecom satellites. The desert terrain could help burning debris survive long enough to reach populated neighborhoods. Arizona emergency agencies have updated public safety guidelines to include falling space junk scenarios. Atlanta, Georgia, also finds itself beneath crowded orbital highways. especially from geostationary satellite disposal. Though geostationary orbits are high, old satellites can drift down and re-enter unpredictably. Georgia's emergency agencies now include orbital debris threats in disaster response planning workshops. Let's not forget Las Vegas, Nevada, often under the radar, but not immune to orbital decay events. Las Vegas lies near western U.S. rocket trajectories, placing it in the risk zone for spent stages. NASA simulations show the Mojave region may face scattered debris drops over the next few years. Though chances remain slim, the city is enhancing its coordination with national aerospace tracking systems. Boston, Massachusetts, is also listed due to its position under polar satellite re-entry paths. Experts say these orbits, popular with scientific satellites, are among the most common to decay. If debris re-enters on a northeast-bound pass, it could potentially impact Boston or nearby suburbs. Meteorologists and emergency planners in New England now factor space debris into long-term readiness drills. Anchorage, Alaska, may surprise some, but it's at high risk due to constant polar satellite overpasses. Most Earth observation satellites rely on polar orbits, which cross over Alaska several times a day. If anything breaks apart in space, Alaska's vast wilderness might absorb it, or it might not. Anchorage itself has been under known orbital paths that previously carried expired or uncontrolled satellites. Now let's head to Dallas, Texas, which shares risk with Houston due to overlapping orbital corridors. Dallas's growth and location place it directly under several decaying satellite flight paths. Emergency agencies in Texas coordinate with NORAD and NASA for the early detection of dangerous re-entries. Let's be clear, most debris burns up in the atmosphere before it ever reaches ground level. However, larger fragments like fuel tanks or heat-resistant alloys can survive the intense descent. And even a tiny fragment traveling at thousands of miles per hour can cause serious damage. What's changing now is the volume. More satellites in space means more potential debris risks. SpaceX, Amazon, OneWeb, and China are launching thousands of new satellites for the internet and communications. This new satellite boom increases the odds of collisions, fragmentation, and ultimately re-entry events. NASA has called for better regulation of end-of-life procedures to reduce falling object risks. Meanwhile, many commercial satellite operators still don't have mandatory deorbit protocols or enforcement. Without strong international rules, more cities could find themselves beneath debris-prone skies by default. That's why FEMA and the FAA are now working with cities to improve alert systems and forecasting. A new public alert system may soon warn residents when large debris is expected to fall nearby. The European Space Agency is also launching an initiative to track uncontrolled re-entries in real time. By 2025, these tools could help pinpoint likely re-entry zones within hours, even down to cities. Still, some objects fall with zero notice, catching even space agencies off guard. In 2020, a Chinese rocket stage fell over Africa without any warnings or predictions. Had it re-entered just a few minutes later, it could have hit Los Angeles or New York. That's how razor-thin the margin is when calculating debris impact zones. Some scientists are now testing lasers that could push dangerous debris out of orbit entirely. Others propose nets or space tugs to catch rogue satellites before they spiral downward. Until those solutions are fully operational, Earth's cities remain exposed to random falling objects. Experts believe public awareness is key to safer outcomes in the event of an incident. That's why many schools are introducing lessons about orbital debris in science and technology classes. You can also track space junk online using NASA's satellite and debris monitoring websites. If a large object re-enters Earth, agencies may post updates through social media and emergency channels. To stay safe, always follow instructions from local authorities if debris sightings are confirmed nearby. Never touch or approach fallen debris. Some may contain toxic materials or sharp fragments. If you ever suspect a piece of space junk has landed near you, Contact authorities immediately. The good news is that impacts on people or buildings are still incredibly rare. But with tens of thousands of objects above us, cities must prepare for the rare just in case. So if you live in Los Angeles, Houston, New York, or any city we mentioned, stay alert. As we race into a more crowded space age, Earth's skies are becoming a little more dangerous. And in 2025, the next piece of space junk could fall, perhaps even near your city.